Thank you for joining us for LinkedIn One, Building an All-Star Profile. My name is Jennifer Stutzrim, and I'll be your host for today's session. Whether you realize it or not, LinkedIn is the #1 recruiting source today for business professionals. It's the first place recruiters, talent sourcers, and talent acquisition professionals go when they're looking for candidates to fill positions for their companies. There are over half a billion, that's B, billion with a B, users on LinkedIn worldwide. Today, we're going to focus on what you can do to make your profile stand out from the rest. LinkedIn created something called LinkedIn All-Star, which gives you the ability to come up higher in the search rankings when recruiters are looking for candidates with your skill set. So again, the focus today is making sure you understand all of the steps that are required to be at All-Star status, and you understand the importance of having a robust keyword and accomplishment-driven profile. So as we get started, the very first thing we want to do is we want to go into our settings and privacy features. Now here on the screen, you're going to see Kelly Jones is our demo account. Kelly is not a real person. She is a profile that I created specifically for our LinkedIn classes. And the beautiful thing about Kelly is she gets contacted by recruiters all the time. So we know that her profile works. So again, you are welcome to send Kelly a connection request. We will be accepting that request. It's part of your networking. This is LinkedIn One. We talk about how to set up your profile to make sure that you're getting attention. We have another class called LinkedIn Two, Networking and Communicating, which is all about making sure that now you have this beautiful profile, you can go through and learn how to connect with people better. And then we also have a short video you can watch on connecting specifically with recruiters. So now let's focus in on getting ready to update our profile. The very first thing we're going to do is we're going to go to the little tiny picture of ourselves in the toolbar with the down arrow and the word me. If you do not have your picture on your profile yet, yours is going to look like a little silhouette head. You're going to click on that down arrow. We're going to go into settings and privacy. Now, I want to share something here. LinkedIn is notorious for making little minor changes to the site and never publishing those so that people know that those changes have occurred. So if you're watching this video and we're giving you the instructions on how to make these changes, but you come into your own LinkedIn profile and you see things might look a little bit different, don't worry or stress. You'll just click through these different options until you find what we're looking for. So today, what we're going to do first is we're going to click on visibility. We're going to scroll about halfway down the page, and we're going to go into visibility of your LinkedIn activity, and we're looking for share profile updates with your network. Now, depending on when you logged out of LinkedIn last, yours might say share job changes, education changes, and updates with your network. So again, the language might look a little bit different, but you're just looking for the option about sharing updates with your network in regards to your profile. So when you get to this section, if yours is set to yes and you see either a green or blue radio dial button, you're going to click inside of that button and you're going to change it to no. The reason why is this will allow you to make changes to your entire profile without driving all of your connections crazy. So if we forget to turn that off, every time we make a change to our profile, it goes out in our notifications to our network. So again, remember, first step, visibility. Scroll down to share profile updates with your network and make sure it's set to no. Second step, we're going to scroll back up to the top of the page a little bit, and we're going to go into edit your public profile. Now, when I click on this, it's going to take us to a different page. You're going to see at the top of your page here on the right-hand side, if you have already edited your profile link before, it will say edit your custom URL. If you've never done this, it will say create your custom URL. What we're talking about here is this link right here. You're going to notice right next to the link is a tiny little edit pencil. With LinkedIn, anytime you want to edit any information, it's always going to be the pencil. Anytime you want to add information, it's always going to be the plus sign. So we're going to click on this little edit pencil, and you're going to notice the only information you can change is what's here inside of the edit box. So the linkedin.com/in will always be the same. Now this link you are going to use everywhere. It's going to be on the top of your resume. It's going to be in your cover letter. It should be in the signature block of your email. You should be using it on job applications, and you should also be using it on business cards for when we're back to face-to-face networking. So you want to do your best to clean it up and keep it short and simple. Kelly Jones, just like Jennifer Roberts, which is my maiden name, is a very common name. There are over 1,000 of us on LinkedIn, so we can't just use Kelly Jones. So in Kelly's case, we opted to add the 314, which is her area code. If you have a master's degree or higher, if you have a professional designation like a PMP, a CPA, an MBA, you can add those as well. If you have a unique first name and last name, you can simply just use your first name and last name. Just remember, the goal is not to make it longer, it's to make it shorter and remove all of those extra letters and numbers and dashes that LinkedIn gave you when they gave you your original URL. So you're going to create your new URL and you're going to save it. The other thing that I just want to show you on this page is you can control your visibility of your profile from this page as well. LinkedIn's going to require the basic information here, and then you're going to see that we've selected for Kelly that her information be available to all LinkedIn members. So once you have your profile where you like it, it's updated, full of keywords and accomplishments, you either want to make sure it's available to all LinkedIn members or that you make it public. And you want to make sure that all of these options are showing, because the more visibility you have while you're in job search mode or while you're trying to start your own business or consulting opportunities, the greater your chance of being discovered. So again, both of those are from this page. Now, there's one more thing that we need to do before we actually go and start making changes to our profile. So we're going to click on that tiny little picture of Kelly again at the top of the page. We're going to go back into settings and privacy, and we're going to do one more step. Now we're going to click on account preferences. We're going to scroll down the page a little bit until we see people also viewed. Now again, the language here may be different from what you're seeing if you've not logged out of LinkedIn in a while. Yours might say viewers of this profile also viewed. Either way, if yours is set to yes, you want to click in this radio dial button and set it to no. The reason being is if you leave this feature on, you are inadvertently giving away potential competition. So just like when you do a Google, Bing, Safari, whatever your favorite browser search is, and you're looking for a restaurant, the search engine usually recommends 5 other restaurants that are similar in nature. LinkedIn uses machine learning and artificial intelligence to do the same thing. So if a recruiter were to come to your profile page and you had this set to yes, then it would recommend 5 other people who are similar to you in nature. So again, you would be giving away potential competition. So make sure that the people also viewed box is set to no. Now we are ready to go make changes to our profile. So you can get back to your profile one of 2 ways. You can click on the IN logo here on the upper left-hand side, and that's going to take you back to your home page. That's always a great way to refresh your search, refresh your page to make sure that you're getting back to home base, if you will. So you can click on your name here, and you can open your profile, or again, you can go back up to the toolbar at the top and you can view your profile from there. Either way is going to take you back to the same place. Now what we're going to do is we're going to scroll down on the page a little bit to our dashboard. And what you're looking for on your dashboard is All-Star. Now again, LinkedIn created this so that everyone who's at All-Star status should be coming up higher in the search rankings when recruiters, talent sourcers, and talent acquisition professionals are looking for candidates with your skill set. You filled in all of the steps that are required. Now in the class, when I show the PowerPoint slides, I show that to be at All-Star status, you need to have a photo of yourself. You need to have a location. You need to have an industry. You need to have an about or summary section. You need to have a current position, which I promise we're going to cover. You need to have at least one previous position. You need to have at least one entry in education, and you need to have at least 5 endorsable skills. Okay, I promise we're going to go through all of those one by one, but if you go to your dashboard as you pause class or after you go back from watching this video, if you hover your cursor right next to yours, if it says intermediate, most of you are going to see that you're either missing your current position because you already added your end date from your company that you just left, or if you hover your cursor next to the word intermediate, it will show you what's missing. All right, now we are going to start making those updates to Kelly's profile. So the very first thing that's required to be at All-Star status is a photo of yourself. So you see here for Kelly's photo, it's a round photo. That's the image that, or the layout that LinkedIn uses. You're going to notice that Kelly is smiling right at you. She's looking straight at you. There's no background image. There's no other people in the image. There's no background noise, if you will. So you want to make sure that your profile picture is you smiling right at the camera like you're welcoming them to your page. You do not need to pay for a professional headshot unless you really want to. Our smartphones today are so good that you can take 3 or 4 pictures, send it to a friend or family member. If you're working with an impact group coach, have him or her take a look at it. But again, the whole point is to make sure that you're smiling right at the camera and you look like you're saying, "Welcome to my page." Now you're going to see behind Kelly that we have another image. That's called your background photo. While that is not a requirement to be an All-Star, we strongly recommend it because it makes you look like a much more experienced LinkedIn user. So if you click on the little edit pencil in this background image, you're going to see that the picture itself is actually quite a bit larger than the space that you have to post it. So you can put your own photo here. The photo can be a business-related photo. It can be a motivational quote. It can just be a beautiful scene, imagery that you like. You want to try to stay away from sports, politics, and religion unless that's something that is part of your job. You can download some wonderful free background images from sites like Canva.com, Canva.com, unsplash.com, and then you can simply use your favorite search engine to search for, let's say as an example, free IT background images. And then you can pick the ones that are free, which means they're not copyrighted, so you can use them easily. Or if you find one that is copyrighted and you want to spend a couple of dollars to purchase it, you can use that however you would like. But again, you want to have a background image because it makes you look like a more experienced user on LinkedIn. Now to edit the section where I said some of the other requirements are, you're going to look for the edit pencil here. So we're going to click on this pencil and we're going to start editing the other requirements. So the first requirement is a photo of yourself to be at All-Star status. And then you're going to see in this section, there's a lot of little bitty stars next to the areas, and those are requirements. So you want to make sure that people can find you by how they know you. And what I mean by that is if you use a nickname, or let's say you go by your middle name instead of your first name, or perhaps you have your mother and father's last name. You come from a culture where you use both names. You want to make sure people can find you that way. If you were married before or you have a maiden name, you just want to make sure people can find you. So let's say that Kelly goes by Suzanne, which is her middle name. You can put Suzanne in quotation marks like we have here, or you can put Suzanne in parentheses so that that way people can find her as Kelly or Suzanne. We have Davis, which is her maiden name here. If she wanted to have both, she could do Davis hyphen Jones. Now the next line here is critically important. This is called your headline. It's the most important real estate on your entire LinkedIn profile. You absolutely want to make sure that you use keywords and skills that are appropriate for the type of position you're looking for. You never want to use words like currently unemployed, seeking the next great opportunity, open to exploring new positions. LinkedIn has actually created a way for you to share and let other LinkedIn users know that you're open to opportunities. I'll show you that before we close out the session today. So you want to make sure that your headline is full of either the job title and a few keywords that are specific to the position you're looking for, or you can come up with a fun tagline or branding statement. But this is the first opportunity you have to show people who you are as a professional and what you do really well. You also have 120 characters for this section, so you want to make sure that you do a good job of conveying those skills. We're going to skip over the current position. I promise you we're going to cover that. I know that everyone here with me today is concerned about that part, so we will go over that in a little bit. We're going to skip over education right now as well. Now you're going to see country or region. LinkedIn is worldwide, so you'll pick your country. And then most countries have a postal code. In the US, we call it the zip code. So you would put in your postal code, and you'll notice when you put in that code that it's going to either give you the city proper, or if it's a larger metropolitan area, you can choose the greater area. For those of you who live in a smaller city or town outside of a larger area, I'd really encourage you to go ahead and put in that greater area there, because then it opens up possibilities for you. I usually have people say, well, Jennifer, what if I'm open to relocation? Or what if I know I'm already moving? You can only have one postal code here, so you either pick where you want to move to the most, or put where you are now, and then in your summary or your about section, you can let people know that you're relocating or that you're open to relocating. And then when you turn on the feature, letting recruiters know that you're open to work, you can let them know there as well. And then a little bit later, when we talk about our placeholder to give you something in the current job field, you can talk about it there. So you've got 3 different opportunities to let people know that you're relocating or that you're open to relocation. Now, the last requirement on this particular slide is the industry. And once again, LinkedIn only allows you to have one. I know many of you have probably worked in several different industries and you think, well, I'd like to work in many different. LinkedIn's only going to allow you to pick one. You've got a lot of different options here, so just pick the one that most closely aligns with where you want to go next. Information technology and services is really broad. It's anything IT related, so that's why we have that for Kelly. So we've completed everything on this slide here, but what we want to do now is we want to go specifically into our contact info, and you're going to see that there's another little pencil here. We're going to click on that pencil. You're going to see that Kelly's is blank. We did that on purpose, but I want to let you know, if you do decide that you want to put in a phone number, you're welcome to do that. Just know that when you do, you might get more spam calls. When you do, you should also put in your mobile phone number so that way no one else will possibly answer your phone. And if you do decide to add your phone number, please make sure that you have a customized message. Don't use the automatic default that just has the 314-555-1122 because recruiters don't know that it's you. So at minimum, record your name so that they know that they've reached the right phone number. You're going to notice here, I'm going to say never put your address. There's no reason to have your full physical address for the whole world to see. Same thing for your birthday. I know when you set up your LinkedIn account originally, it made you put in a birthday, but guess what? You can pull it out. You click on that drop-down box, you scroll all the way up to the top, you click on the month, you go to the day, you do the same thing, you scroll all the way up to the top, you click on the day. The reason why we say this is if I have your full name, I have your phone number, I have your email, I have your address, and I have your birthday, I can steal your identity. So you want to protect some of your information and keep it private. Now we're going to discard this on Kelly's because we don't want to make any of those changes. So we've gone through and we've made the changes to the top section. Now we're going to move on to the About section. The About section on your LinkedIn profile is your first chance to let your personality come through. So you're going to notice here as I'm highlighting, you only see a few lines of your About or Summary section. You have to click on See More to be able to see the complete section. Right now, you have 2,600 characters for this section. Kelly's is just about 2,000 characters, which is what it used to be. Remember how I said at the beginning of the session, LinkedIn likes to make a lot of little changes and not notify anyone of them, and that was one. So you may watch this recording and I may say 26 and they may change it to 3,000 or they may change it back to 2,000. So you just want to go in and make sure that your summary or your About section just really shows off who you are as a professional, what you do really well, give a few examples of accomplishments, those PAR statements that you worked so hard on your resume, and then you can tell people what you would like to do next. And hopefully you're noticing something here. On your resume, we tell you no I, me, or my statements. They have to be past tense, action verb oriented, not complete sentences. Well, on your LinkedIn profile, you finally do get to talk about yourself in first person. So take the time to enjoy writing up your About section. Make sure that your personality comes through. Talk about any training or certifications that you have. Talk about why you love doing what you do. And then you can go through and share some of your accomplishments, those PAR statements that you worked on. And then for those of you who are ready to let people know that you're in transition and you're looking for a new opportunity, you can simply add a line like we've done here on Kelly's. I'm going to turn it blue so you know where to look, and then I'm going to take that blue off. You can let people know that you're open to discussing new opportunities in X, Y, and Z. You can let them know that you are open to travel, that you have a valid passport, that you're interested in remote positions and you have a complete home office setup. If you are relocating with your spouse or significant other, you can let them know that you're relocating and that you're looking for opportunities in your new area. If you're not quite ready to let the world know that you're in transition, you could just simply say, I'm always interested in growing my network and connecting with like-minded professionals. Let's connect. Okay? So again, this last paragraph is dependent upon how you plan to approach your job search or your relocation. We're going to scroll past this dashboard because we've already talked about it. And remember, the goal is to get ourselves to All-Star because it brings us up higher in the search rankings when recruiters are looking for individuals with our skill sets. The next thing that we're going to do is we're going to discuss the experience section. And I realize, again, everyone on the call is with me because you are either in transition or about to be in transition. When we put this class together, we surveyed thousands of HR professionals and hiring managers, and we asked them, when do you expect people to update their resumes that they've left their companies? And everyone unanimously said immediately. So of course on your resume, you're supposed to put your end date immediate. We said, okay, how about LinkedIn? And then we heard everything under the sun. We heard immediately, not until you land a new position, 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, make up a consulting business, put something there. So we decided to create something called the placeholder. So what you can do, you've got a couple of different options here. If you want, you can leave your previous company as present for 3 to 4 months. So think 90 to 120 days. And then if you've not yet found that next position, you can go in and create your placeholder. Or if you're not comfortable leaving your previous company as present for 3 to 4 months, you can go ahead and do what we did for Kelly, and that's called the placeholder. And I'm going to show you how to do it, and then we'll come back and we'll look at Kelly's again in a minute. So remember, anytime you want to do something new on LinkedIn, it's the plus sign. Anytime you want to edit, it's the pencil. So let's click on that plus sign. And this is going to be the job, oops, I'm in all caps, job title you want, and then a few keywords specific to that position. Okay, so that would be skills or keywords specific to the position. You're going to skip over employment type. It's not important right now. In the company, you're going to put industries of interest. Okay, so this could be IT, healthcare, education, etc. Okay, location, you're obviously going to put in where you want to be. It doesn't like St. Louis that way, but I'm going to put in St. Louis. It's just saying we can't find that location, so you would put your city, states there. You're going to notice I am currently working in this role. You want that box checked. What you do not want checked, though, see, we worked on that beautiful headline earlier, and now it's typing everything that I'm putting in there. You want to uncheck the update my headline box, and that way it won't undo what you did earlier. You're also going to notice here we turned off those notifications, so we are not going to send this out to our network because it's not actually a real job right now. And then in this description box, this again can be who you are, what you do really well, what you are doing now. So that could be volunteer work, school, training, etc. And then again, what you would like to do next. Okay, so it doesn't need to be a lot of information there, but you can put this, you can fill it with keywords again to the position or titles that you're interested in or the industry. You can talk about any training that you've been taking. I just want to write down a couple of things here. So LinkedIn Learning has some phenomenal training you can take. You can get a free 1-month upgrade to LinkedIn Learning, so you can try it out. There's also Coursera.org, another great site to take free training. There's Udemy, udemy.com. All right, so those are some other sites where you can take some training right now. So one of the things that employers like to see is that when you are in transition, that you are not just sitting at home. They want to see that you are trying to learn new skills to make sure that you're marketable to others. So try to do your best to get out there and learn some new skills, do some volunteer work, do some new training so that you can have something to add in this section. Now, some of you may want to consider starting your own consulting business, or maybe you're going to start your own small business of another sort. You can put that in for your placeholder as well, but you can always review that with, if you're working with an impact group coach, you can review that with your coach. But you can look at Kelly's example that I'm getting ready to show you now. So let's click away from that. Let's discard those changes and let's look at what we did for Kelly. So instead of an actual job title for Kelly, I kept it very generic because, again, she's not a real person. So I just did information technology and cybersecurity. So those would be job titles. Instead of a company name, I did industry sectors, cybersecurity, information technology, healthcare, education, consumer services. And then remember I said earlier, if you wanted to have a fun branding statement as your headline, so see Kelly's headline is right up here underneath. When you're on your profile page, your headline's right here. You could also do something fun like this: cybersecurity specialist protecting your data from cyber attacks and the dark web. Again, all of those are keywords. And then here, I just simply told Kelly's story in first person. So she's a technology professional pursuing her Security Plus and her certified ethical hacker. She's volunteering at the SBA and SCORE. She's volunteering at tech in schools. She's open again to discussing permanent and full-time opportunities once she's gotten her 2 new certifications. So that's what's called your placeholder. Remember also, in order to be at all-star status, LinkedIn requires you to have at least one other previous job. Now, Kelly held a couple of positions at Impact Group, so when you have had multiple positions at the same company, make sure that you pull the exact same company logo so you get this nice little line here that shows that you held multiple positions. So if you work for a company that was acquired by another company, go ahead and make it the same organization if you want to show longevity. If you don't want to show the longevity and you want to have the companies there separately, you can do that as well. But just remember that LinkedIn requires at least one other position in addition to your present, which for most of us on the meeting here will be your placeholder. The next section that's a requirement is education. LinkedIn requires you to have at least one entry in the education field. Now you're going to notice Kelly has a master's degree and she has a bachelor's degree, but you're also going to notice that there are no dates. Now when you set up your profile originally, LinkedIn required you to put in dates, but I want you to know that you can actually go in and remove those if you would like to. Most employers just want to know that you have a degree, but if you're like me and you graduated in 1992, it's not necessary for them to know that. So you can go into the education field and you can edit it by clicking on the edit pencil. And you can go in and in where it would have those years originally, you click on those drop down boxes again and you scroll all the way up to the tip top of the box and you're going to see the word year. You're going to do the same thing on the other one, scroll all the way up and do year. And then that way you can remove your years as well. Rule of thumb is if you've gotten your degree in the last 5 to 7 years, go ahead and include your dates. If it's older than that, include the degree, but you don't need to have the dates. It's the same on the resume as well. Now let's say that you're in progress, you're working toward a degree, then you would simply put your expected date in here. So we could say December 2021, okay? If you went to school but you never had an opportunity to finish, you never want to say you have a degree when you don't, so you would just take this information out completely and you would just have your field of study. Now you're going to notice for Kelly, we don't have any other information in here other than her volunteer work, which is fine. You can put your GPA in there, especially if you graduated magna cum laude, summa cum laude, if you were part of a National Honor Society or fraternity. So you can put that information in there if you want to, but just know it's not required. Now, let's say that you did not have the opportunity to go to university or college, but you attended a technical trade school, or perhaps you took some professional development courses or training that your employer put you through. You can go ahead and put that information in here as well. So you would just put you would put the employer's name here, and then you would just in the field of study, you would put the type of training. Because again, LinkedIn requires you to have at least one entry into the education field. And once again, we turned off that share with network so that we're not driving people crazy as we're making our updates. So we're going to close out of the edit information here. You would save yours. I'm going to close out. Now let's say that when I took the dates off, it moved my education and I want to move it back. There's only 2 sections on your profile where you can actually move the information around by dragging and dropping. It's education and skills and endorsements. So here, right underneath the edit pencil are these 4 little lines. Those are your drag and drop lines. Watch what happens. I'm going to put my cursor there and I'm going to drag it down. So let's say when I took those dates off, it put my bachelor degree back up here, but I really want my master's degree on top. You want your highest level degree education on top. So I would just grab those 4 lines and I would drag my master's degree back up. So again, you can drag and drop in education and you can drag and drop in skills and endorsements. Now on Kelly's profile, you're going to see that we have licenses and certifications. We also have volunteer experience. If you're looking at your profile and you don't see all of these things, don't stress or worry. If you go back up here to the top of the page, you're going to see a blue box that says add a profile section. When you click on that, it gives you a lot of different options of things you can add. Right now, we're just going through what's required to be at All-Star, and education is required. Licenses and certifications are not. Volunteer experience is not. Now, if it adds value to have it on your profile, if they're current and relevant certifications, if you're working toward a certification, then absolutely add those. See here on Kelly's, we have our Security Plus expected December 2021. If the volunteer experience, again, is recent and it's relevant, go ahead and put that on. If it's something you did 20 years ago and you really haven't done it since, it doesn't really add a lot of value to have that. So you might not want to put that there. The last section that's a requirement is skills and endorsements. LinkedIn requires you to add at least 5 endorsable skills in order to be at All-Star status. But you notice when you look at Kelly's profile here, only the top 3 show up. So you have to actually click on Show More to be able to see the rest of Kelly's skills. So just keep in mind that you want those top 3 to sort of be the 3 things you're best at. Think of it from that perspective. So if you want to add a new skill, you can simply click on Add a New Skill. It's going to open up a pop-up box for you. And I forgot to mention that earlier. Make sure that you have pop-up boxes enabled for LinkedIn when you're doing this. Otherwise, you won't see these boxes popping up. You're going to notice here, because Kelly's profile is full of keywords and accomplishments specific to the types of positions she's looking for and the experience she has, LinkedIn is using its machine learning and artificial intelligence to recommend some other keywords that she might want to have on her profile. So if it recommends keywords to you that make sense, absolutely go ahead and add them. So we could add the Server Plus certification. But let's say that I wanted to add something else in terms of cyber security. So I would start typing cyber, and you see all of the different cybers that pop up. So you could scroll down and we could say cyber threat intelligence. LinkedIn's going to allow you to have 50, that's 50, They want you to have a minimum of 5 to be at all-star status. So as you start clicking them and adding them, you'll see that they turn green. So you can add a whole bunch at once. You do not have to do this one by one. And then you would simply click the blue add button down here and it would add them for you all at once. Now I don't want to add those skills. You're going to see the Take the Skills quiz here. That's something that LinkedIn added that you can do if you would like to. It just allows you to take some skills tests, and it will say whether you're a beginner, intermediate, or advanced. Just be aware that that will show up on your profile. So you want to make sure that if you're taking skill tests on something that you're pretty good at it. Now let's say we want to edit this section. Maybe we aren't happy with having cybersecurity, security plus, and information security show up as our top 3. You're going to go into the edit pencil over here. Notice the difference. These 3 are your pinned skills. They're your top skills. So they've got a little blue or green. It'll look different on your screen. And the others are hollowed out or clear. Let's say that I want to move one of the ones that are up here down, and I want to move something down here up. You have to unpin something at the top first before you can move something else up. All right, so watch me unpin it. So everybody look at information security. Watch where it goes. I'm going to unpin it. It moved below the line. Now look at network security. I'm going to pin it and it moved above the line. So that's how you move something from your bottom, I call them buckets, from your bottom segments. Now LinkedIn does this for you. You can't move from one bucket to another or one section to another. It automatically puts them there. Now you can move them up and down in a section, but you can't move it past. So see, if I tried to move that up, it wouldn't go up. You can only move it in the section. So again, if you want to move something that's one of your top 3 pins, you have to unpin it first, and then you can go in and you can pin something else and move it up. And then if you wanted to change the order that something's in, this is the second area where you can drag and drop. The first was education. So see how I'm just changing by dragging and dropping. All right. So I do not want to save those changes because I like Kelly's profile the way it is. And please feel free when you send your connection request to Kelly later and I accept it. If you want to come in and endorse her for some skills, I would be grateful. Again, this is a demo account, so it's just helpful to have those endorsements there so you could just go through and practice endorsing skills. It's good practice for you. And we're going to talk about one more thing here in terms of helpful tips, but you have already done all of the steps to make sure that you're at all-star status. So the first one, we'll go through that, is to have a picture of yourself. The second was to fill out all of this top information that's required. Then you want to make sure that you have an about section or a summary. You've got 2,600 characters here for that. You want to use them wisely, keywords and accomplishments. You can let people know what's next if you would like to. The next requirement to be at All-Star is something in the present or current job field. So that's where we created Kelly's placeholder. You all are going to connect with Kelly, so you'll be able to see this example. But just remember, you can either keep your previous company as present for 3 to 4 months. You can create a placeholder like we did for Kelly. If you're back in school full-time, you could put that you're in school. If you start a consulting business, but you have to have something in the present job field. You must have at least one previous job. So you see what we did there. You must have at least one entry in education. We went through that. The other sections here are optional. And you must have at least 5 endorsable skills. In the past, LinkedIn used to require you to have recommendations. Now they're just strongly recommended. So if you have recommendations on your profile page, you're actually going to see them here at the bottom, and you're going to see that you have the ability to ask for a recommendation. But I'm going to recommend, talk about a lot of alliteration there, that you actually go to the person's profile page to whom you want to ask the recommendation. So we're going to use me, Jennifer, as an example here, just to make it easier. So you're going to go up to the search box. You're going to start typing in the person's name that you want to look for. And you're going to see that it automatically populates with other people who are your first level connections. So there's me. I pop up as Kelly's first. And then in order to ask for that recommendation, you're going to click on More with the 3 dots. And you're going to go down to Request a Recommendation. LinkedIn is going to have you select a reporting relationship. So we're going to say that Jennifer managed Kelly. We're going to say it's when she was the technical support manager at Impact Group. And then we're going to click Next, and we're going to move our cursor far away from the Send button. And you always, always, always want to customize this note. Remember, the more detailed you are for the individual, the better your chances of getting a great recommendation, which will be on your profile for the whole world to see. So as an example, you could say something like this. Hi, Jennifer. I hope you and your family are doing well. I'm in the process of updating my LinkedIn profile, and I would be grateful if you would write me a recommendation for the time we worked together on the new help desk software rollout. I know we were able to complete it 2 weeks ahead of schedule, and we saved $5,000. Thanks so much, Kelly. Then what'll happen is you'll send it through LinkedIn. It'll go to and to Jennifer in her notifications, and it'll go to her via email. She'll click on a link. She'll write up that recommendation based off of what you suggested. It'll come back to you through LinkedIn notifications and your email. Then you can proof it and approve it and add it to your profile. No one can add a recommendation to your profile unless you approve it. And likewise, you can't write a recommendation that somebody else gave you. So if they wrote you a recommendation letter, you can't add it in this section. And we really don't encourage you to add those recommendation letters as an attachment, nor do we encourage you to add your resume to your profile as an attachment, because if you do a good job of filling out your profile here, it essentially is your resume online. It's just more personal, and you're sharing the highlight of your accomplishments. So again, don't attach recommendation letters to your profile. Work hard to try to get at least 3 recommendations. They can be from your former managers. They can be from your peers or your colleagues. If you were a manager or a supervisor or a team lead, they can be from your direct reports. If you worked closely with any vendors or clients, you could request a recommendation from them. Or if you ever served in any leadership capacity for volunteer organizations, it could be that way as well. So they're not required, but they're great to have on your profile. And I want to cover one more thing with you before we end today, because I know it's very important to everyone, because again, most of you here are in job mode, or you're relocating with your significant other. We're going to talk about letting recruiters know you're open. So always get back to your homepage by clicking on that little N logo, the LinkedIn logo. You get to your profile page by clicking on your name here, or you can go back up here to the little toolbar and click on the picture of yourself and click View Profile. Now, before we end the session, we're going to let recruiters know that we're open. You're going to see here on Kelly's page, there's 2 options. Depending on when you have logged out of LinkedIn last, you might only see one of them. So don't worry if it doesn't look exactly the same for you as it does for Kelly's. You're either looking for show recruiters you're open to work, or you're looking for the blue drop down that says open to finding a new job. Either one of them will take you to the same place. So we're going to click that open. And this is your opportunity to let recruiters know the types of job titles you're looking for. So they're just giving you kind of some generic examples you could add if you wanted to, but Kelly's interested in cybersecurity positions. So we obviously are going to start typing cybersecurity specialist. We're going to type in cyber again, if I could spell. We're going to try it as one word because guess what? People put cybersecurity in here as one word, as two words. We're going to do cybersecurity analyst. Now, LinkedIn will allow you to add up to 5. However, if you have a really robust profile yourself and you have a lot of those keywords in your profile, LinkedIn might recommend more than 5 to you. So remember I talked earlier about they use artificial intelligence and machine learning. So this is one of those sections where they might recommend job titles based off of the robustness, if that's a real word, of your profile. So you can put 5 job titles there. If you look here, the next one, I'm going to tell you to skip over it right now. Okay, base pay is not something that recruiters are using right now to source candidates. So we encourage you to just skip over that. Same thing for benefits. We all know the only reason why most of us work is for salary, benefits, and vacation. But recruiters are not using this to source you just yet. So skip over benefits. But you absolutely do want to fill in the commute. So earlier, remember when I said if you are open to relocation, you can put in more than one zip code in this area. Now, because of Kelly's account is used every single week to teach classes, this section doesn't look the same for hers. But if you wanted to put in, I'll just put in a zip code here, which is the Round Rock, Texas area, which is actually where I live. You could put in the 50-mile radius. That's as large as you could go. You should also see a box right under here that allows you to check open to remote. You always want to check the open to remote box because that way it opens up more opportunities. You should also have the option to add some additional cities or additional zip codes. Kelly's have just disappeared because we've done this so many times. The other one that you should not fill out unless you work in an environment that is 24/7 or has multiple shifts is the preferred schedule. So as an example, if you work in a manufacturing and production facility, the recruiters would be using the preferred schedule as part of their sourcing criteria. If you're a nurse or work in a hospital, if you're an EMT, paramedic, they might use those. But if you're like me and you work in a regular business office setting Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, that's not going to help you, so you can skip over that. Okay. The last part that you absolutely do want to do, though, is you want to pick full-time, part-time, and contract. Now, I realize that most of you probably want a full-time position, and we understand that. But many companies today, especially given what happened in 2020, are hiring a lot of employees on contract to start. So I want you to keep your minds open to contract. It's a great way to get income coming in now. It gives you an opportunity to explore the company, see if they're a good fit for you while you're looking for something more permanent. Another thing that companies started doing in 2020 and it's continued into 2021 is offering part-time, so 30 to 32 hours a week with benefits. So I want you to keep your mind open to full-time, part-time, and contract. And the last thing that we're going to talk about on this page is really important, and only you can decide this. So LinkedIn has given you 2 options in terms of letting people know that you're open. The top one is for recruiters only, and that is for people who have the LinkedIn recruiter account. So it's different than the type of account that you and I are talking about here today. So if you have a little more time in your job search, you want to be selective, You don't want to let everyone know that you're in transition or let everyone know that you're looking. You're going to choose the recruiters only option. That might make the most sense for you. However, LinkedIn created the open to work banner last year because so many people were in transition because of the pandemic, and they put that there so that even strangers can help other people find new positions. So if you're in a situation where you need to get back to work quickly, you'd love the help of the entire 500 million or half a billion users on LinkedIn, then you put that open to work banner. So again, that's your decision. But if you need to get back to work quickly, the recommendation is to try that open to work banner and open it to all LinkedIn members. If you have a little bit more time and you've got maybe a severance package, you're not in a rush to get back to work, you might want to try recruiters only. There's no right or wrong answer. You have to do what's right for you. And then what we would do is we would make this added to Kelly's profile. And so then they would recommend job alerts based off of that. Okay. And then if you ever want to go back in and edit it and turn it off, you can go in and you can delete it from your profile. Okay. Now, when you delete it from your profile, it removes it completely. It doesn't just turn it off, it takes it away completely. So I'm just going to go ahead and close that out. Okay. So we went through all of the steps required today to make sure that you've got yourself to all-star status on LinkedIn. You want to make sure that your profile is full of keywords and accomplishments, and you really showcase who you are as a professional, what you do really well, and what you would like to do next. Your About section is your first opportunity to do that. Just make sure that you're taking the time to invest in yourself by creating a powerful profile. We'd love to have you join us for our LinkedIn 2 session, which is all about networking and communicating on LinkedIn. We show you how to post, we show you how to comment, how to follow hashtags, how to tag people, how to set up job search agents that work for you, how to find people at companies, hiring companies, and more. We also have another video that you can watch that's about a 6-minute video on how to find recruiters on LinkedIn. So again, we appreciate your time. We wish you the absolute best in your career search, and we look forward to hearing where you land. Thanks so much for joining us today. Bye-bye.